Sup nerds and welcome to Mind Over Magic. This is a new game from Klei Entertainment, the makers of Oxygen Not Included, where you're in charge of a magical school, from building the school to bringing in students and training them, developing a strong staff, and pushing back on the oppressive fog that is always threatening to wipe out all of your hard work. I played this game a few times at different points in Early Access, including their original playtest before Early Access was even a thing, but it just recently launched its full version, so let's begin. First things first is going to be our difficulty selection here. Now, the casual mode, Relax, is great. It's a fantastic way to play this game where the threats that come in are easily managed. This mode's about exploration, about building the wildest looking school you can imagine, and about just a relaxing, fun time. The standard mode is the way the game was made to be played. They weren't originally trying to appeal to any kind of hardcore crowd. In fact, they were trying to actively discourage that, but after pushback from early access, they ended up making the Relentless mode. Now, this is what I'm going to be playing. I feel like having the additional challenge of the fog rolling in as an ever-present threat really adds some urgency to everything you're doing. I think that it makes overcoming these obstacles feel all the better, and I really like just generally feeling like I'm being pushed and tested constantly in a gameplay. Of course, if I wanted to, I could even go further and customize things to farther extremes than what we're going to be doing here. Our next step is the architecture style, figuring that out. Now, I'm going to be going with balanced, which is just the regular room keywords that will be explained shortly. What you choose here kind of will determine how the school overall looks, whether you have a wonky and airy school. I really want to try games with both of these options, so if people are interested, I absolutely will give it a try sometime. Iron Mage is something I'm not going to be turning on. Just as a content creator, it's not a generally good idea to run the risk of losing your whole save. At least not for our first playthrough. Maybe we'll do Iron Mage sometime and just give that a go. With that, we're going to go ahead and start, and the first thing that we're going to see is a letter from the founder of the school. Once the school stood here, but our hubris led us astray. A terrible curse now sustains a deadly fog and crushes our conviction with the weight of its malice. You must rebuild the school and train brilliant new mages to brave the horrors of the Underschool and break the curse once and for all. This is from Quinn, the founder of the Refuge of the Scarred Cave. Now, we can rename the school. We can't rename the founder. That is randomized every time, and Quinn will show up here shortly. So we're going to go through a few different names until we find something suitably edgy, and I think College of the Sinister Channel sounds just fantastic. So we are going to re-establish the College of the Sinister Channel. Now, to start off, we have our staff. Staff can have different races, which will have different effects that I'll go into as they become more prominent. They have different stat levels, as you can see in the upper right here, which will determine their basic capabilities. You could spend forever rolling to try to get the perfect staff that you want, but there are really 3 or 4 elements that I'm looking for to make a successful start in Relentless mode. And that is somebody who is skilled in plants, and somebody who's skilled in earth, and then we need secondaries of lightning and fire. Now, seeing as we don't have secondaries of lightning and fire on either, and our Vivified over here is primarily earth, I'm going to spend a moment doing some specified rolling to try to get the people we want. Plant is fine. Plant is one of the ones I really want to see focus as a primary. Already that shifted some points around, so we've got plants and lightning. This is acceptable for a starter. Now, this one we're going to give earth as his primary. We need fire, so we're going to re-roll a couple times. Just see if we can't get an earth and fire going. Is that not going to be a possibility? Should be. One moment. Alright, here we go. We got a perfect mix of earth, lightning, and fire. Entirely fine by me. It's a human that I'm not too concerned about. This is Heather. So you will find that there is no link between names and appearance in this game, so we will go ahead and start with Annabelle and Heather and get into our school. Now, here we are with our mana font, our school, and everything around it. I will go left to right through what we can see here. Over here is our student summoner. This is where, in time, once we have our school established to a point where that feels safe, we will start summoning in students to train and use for basic tasks. We have our mana font, which is used to recharge our mana, and as you can see just looking at it, it's horrifically corrupted by this oppressive fog above us. Our very first task is going to be pushing this fog away, for it has consumed the school. I will linger right here if anybody wants to pause and read that. Then we have our codex over here, which contains all of our rituals, the founder's letter, and just our basic tutorials. So we're probably not going to be looking at the codex too much. So our first task is going to be to repel the fog. We put somebody in as a pawn steward. We're going to start with Annabelle, and it's going to take 5 minutes, no resources. Every time we have to push back the fog further, it's going to take more resources, more time, and more people. This is going to become apparent by the time we are anywhere close to done with this. So, we'll just start with Annabelle here. We'll close that up, and we will begin the Repel Fog ritual. Annabelle is channeling her mana in to start clearing the font, and with that, the fog parts away and reveals the foundation of our school, and old Quinn over here, who you might remember as the founder. We uncovered his grave. His ghost will be around, and will be, even if everything else goes wrong, even if we lose everything else, we can still have Quinn, so we can keep our research, go to the font, push the fog back to this point again, and try one more time. It's basically impossible to lose this game forever. Now that we are here, we need to start gathering resources. This foundation is the very core of how the school will be built. So we're going to go down to build. We're going to build a framework on each end of the foundation, and those are going to be hallways. We're going to put a couple other in as just places where we're going to split this up into other buildings over time. And that should be good right there. Now, I know that looks ridiculous right now. It will make sense. Then we're going to start gathering some materials. We can just use the 4 key and click on a few things we want to gather. We want to get a few rodents. We want to get some of these gut berries especially, and wood. Gut berries are food for most races. Wolfkin will need to eat rats at first, and eventually we'll get cooking and give people some more ideal things. We're going to start with just gathering the close resources early on. Eventually we'll be gathering closer to the fog. What you can see here is that the fog's tendrils extend out. These tendrils show how far in the fog is going to push at the end of our day. When the day is ended and the fog pushes in, any resources that are left in the fog are going to be consumed by the fog. But new resources, new nodes will spawn in that location. So there is a real push and pull of how far you want to let the fog in and push it out in order to get the resources that you need to continue the game. Our very first thing is going to be making sure we have enough resources to keep the fog pushed back forever. So we are going to get our research station up and running. Is going to be our first room that we're going to build. We also need to make sure our priorities are assigned. So since Heather is better at building and mining, we're going to make those her first priorities. We're going to make research a secondary and cooking a secondary. We're probably not going to get into cooking for a bit, to be honest. Hunting is also going to be something that Heather does. Annabelle, as our plant tender, is going to focus on those, and we're going to make sure that each focuses on the other's work less. And we are also going to have Annabelle. What was your secondary that I gave you? Oh, yes, you're going to be, honestly, before Heather, you're going to be our research because Heather has more jobs. So, it's very basic setup. Quinn is going to be our primary hauler. Do that before anything else because Quinn is level 1 in all stats and will forever be level 1 in all stats. There is no way to push forward. Quinn is just our backup insurance and a little bit of extra help. So we'll get a few more trees marked and we will get people to work. I will be back shortly once they have finished work to explain a few more things. Alright, we've gone ahead and moved everything up to triple speed. We're starting to get some stone and some wood built up, so now it's time to make our very first room. Now, you would think that maybe the first thing we need to make is start addressing basic needs of our staff, but no, we are actually going to make our very first item, the Arcane Secretary, which is a research station. Our very first focus is going to be research. So with the walls up, now it's time to show you one of the coolest features of this game. It's not going to look too impressive here, but as we build our roofs, you notice that's not a normal design, and that's because we have this walk slider. If we want it purely symmetrical and boring, we just do it there. But I prefer keeping it at about 70 to 80% wonk. We can adjust where the peaks and valleys are, but, you know, it's very important for a magical aesthetic to have a weirdly wonky roof. We are also going to... I can't actually put a wall there, so we're going to not worry about that one yet. We'll in fact demolish that. But we'll lay down the foundation for our bedroom, but it's nowhere near as much of a priority build. We want to make sure this secretary is built before I start on walls or anything like that for the bedroom. And the reason why will become very clear once we do our first research. So as this room finishes, the walls will fill in. We are going to put in some lighting into this room as soon as we get some more Viscera. That will come shortly. And we're going to try to get our Arcane Secretary built here. Our goal... So, now that we have a room, I should show you the room view. And you can see each room has all these different keywords based on different elements of it. So because it has no negative luxury items, it's considered pristine. It's towered because it doesn't have any rooms next to it. It's grounded because it's on the ground floor. All those different effects can determine what type of the room is, and that earlier thing where I was talking about the different keywords applying to different room types, this is where that comes into effect. How you build a room determines what kind of room it can be. Now, what are our options? Well, we have quite a few different kinds of rooms that we can build, from classrooms to dining rooms to ritual rooms, dragon rooms. Right now, though, we are trying to make a research room as our first priority, which is going to be a basic workshop, which will give 25% extra research and crafting rate. The only real requirement is that it be lofted, so it be taller than it is wide, which is why we made such a simple, narrow room, and that it have a research or crafting station. We will probably move where our workshop is in time, but for now, this is good. And then we just don't put any of the things that don't make sense in a research room into this room. So, all we need to do is finish our Arcane Secretary, and this will turn into a workshop and give us a boost in research speed. Very, very important. There it is. We open our research, and our first research needs to be storage. We need chests. The reason we need chests is we need to be able to bring these resources in before the fog destroys them all. The fog comes at the end of every day. It's incredibly vicious when it does. So we need to get this research going, which is why we're not going to focus too much on construction after this point. He'll probably Heather, I'll try to remember to use they. I will probably mess up pronouns, trying to look at appearances too much. I apologize for that in advance. Okay, no, it's going to be Annabelle. It's going to start researching our work. So, since we're just researching and gathering, the other big thing we can do is put up a pair of torches. You can see the lighting chain. Actually, let me cancel that real quick. When I go to build torches, you can see the lighting change. It's the second value right in the middle there is 35%. That is additive. We want the room to be about 50% or more lit at all times. The reason for that I will explain later when I'm inevitably building and forget to do it. Then you will see why I want to, but it's better with a demonstration. So we're getting our torches built, our room lit, our research done. Now every action that our staff does consumes mana from their pool. As that mana empties, they need to routinely come back here, visit the mana font, and recharge. So that's all that's happening. Sometimes other basic needs are going to be food. Oh, Heather is idle. What were you, Heather? You're my earth person, so I'm going to keep you mining. I'm going to set you on some of this stuff. Soon we'll be able to make some chests and nobody will have nothing to do. Cool, our research just finished. So before we start any further research, we're going to put in a few chests for storage. There's really no requirements for this aside from that you have the resources to make them, and we are not able to unfortunately set the properties before it's built for what goes in there, so we'll just keep an eye on that. And bringing resources over. One nice thing about the founder being a ghost is he can go through walls, and we can in fact get more ghosts over time, though, you know, there's the obvious element of somebody needs to die to be able to make them into ghosts. So we just put gut berries in. We'll just make this our gut berry storage. We'll clear all and just allow gut berry related things into this chest. The second one is going to be wood. Gut berries and wood are the two most important things to get stored early on. Why are you putting worm weed pollens in there? I don't care about those. I care about wood. Runewood wood, and runewood nuts. Alright, cool. The reason why we want to do those is for the mana font down here. Our rituals. Our first one was free, but our second, as you can see, needs gut berries and wood in order to push out the fog further. We're okay not doing that right now. I wanted to push in for one night, and I want to try to get everything possible in. Also grab some of this Phoenix Kiss. It's a little rarer. We're just trying to squeeze in what we can right now before the end of the day and the fog pulling back in. So one moment while we just gather some basic resources. Alright, the fog has rolled in. We are trying to gather some smoke stick right now to make some more chests, but as you can see, everything but our base was covered, which is why we wanted to be able to gather wood and gut berries in, just in case they were needed. Our first research, or first ritual to push back does not need it. We'll get our staff in, get as powerful of a repel fog spell as we can for this first one. We'll probably need 2 in order to keep the school safe for tomorrow. But our first one going, probably it's going to take about half an hour. You can see the font clearing up. Let's push back, but yeah, the trails of the tendril touch the school, so we will push back a little further. This needs gutberry and wood. Glad we saved up so much of both. Get everybody down there, push it out. And our main staff is probably about to fall asleep. So, over the course of the night, the founder, who does not need sleep and who does not need mana, is going to be doing some work. We're going to get some chests. We're going to start building some beds. Some basic cots. One nice thing about this game is that you can build horizontally. So we're just going to start with 3 cots for the 2 staff and our first student that we bring in. I probably should actually make this room a little wider. I think I will, rather than trying to be clever or anything. I'll just demolish these walls. We reclaim all the reagents. There's no real cost for moving anything around or rebuilding anything, so we'll get enough room for another cot in here, and we will have room for 2 students in time. Yes, there is more we can do in terms of, or in order to get more staff, we need to bring the students in, train them, and raise them, so we don't even have to worry about staff yet. Alright, so as our staff begins to come awake in this next day, we will go ahead and finish up with this bedroom. Humans will eat gut berries, we'll go hunt down rats to eat them. The fog will creep in close today, but not to dangerous levels. We'll continue getting our chests built, get some wood, and soon here we are going to want to get a wand shaper and start bringing in some students before we get too much else going. We're also going to go ahead and build our, or start researching our next element, which is critical care. Just in case something goes wrong, we are going to want to have medical beds around. And get some iron mined to be able to make those. We don't need those immediately, but we want them on hand, ready to go. In case it's needed, we'll get our 4th bed for our 2nd student. We will build our wand shaper under crafting, and we are going to go ahead and also work on making our 2nd floor. Now, we want to go carefully and not be too ambitious in Relentless mode, just because all of this can, in fact, backfire very easily. One bad spawn of some monsters, which we just got a monster spawn, let's see how bad it is, can lead to mental breaks. We can already see that Heather is kind of having a really rough time of it due to sleeping on the floor, eating some bad food, sleeping outside of a bedroom, just lots of things going wrong. So tonight we'll have a bed. We'll try to keep Heather safe until such time. But we need to deal with this rift that's opening up right now. And it is right here. It looks like it is an earth-focused rift. A spectral rift is a place where enemy ghosts, poltergeists, can come in, and if we don't deal with them, they're going to make that poltergeist, which is going to smash all our chests, which is going to be a problem. Let's take a look at what this battle looks like. We've got a few chest smashers, a torch snuffer. We're going to want to prioritize having a wand shaper ready to go so we can handle this. So let's have Heather, who is our Earth Mage, our best builder, build this wand shaper real quick. We don't need more research at the moment. We just get a student in to have a little bit more in terms of spells that we can use. Annabelle is going to be the one who will make the wands when they come. We need wands in order to bring students in, so we want a water wizard. That is a thing that we are missing. And probably our next student is going to be a dark wizard, so we'll just go ahead and get those both made real quick. What are you up to? You're gathering resources. Okay. So, with one student already able to come in, we'll send Heather down here to bring our water student in. Have our bed getting made for that right now. Thank you, Quinn. Oh, we have our chest smasher already here. Annabelle, I would like you to... Do we have ours? No. So, Heather, what are you up to? Where are you? You're mining. I need you to summon that. I might not have hit begin ritual. So begin your ritual. We need to move quickly to deal with this chest smasher. So, our first student is coming in. This is a big moment. Unfortunately, we have some other stuff going on as well, but we will at least get ready to deal with that. Alright, our first student is here. It is a Vivified named Anders who has a water wand. He has a few options on his sheet that we need to deal with. He wants to destroy a bunch of things, he wants to sleep in an austere bedroom, and he wants to dance with his friends with an enchantophone, which is something we don't have research yet, but we will. We'll work on all this. So, those will all give extra experience, which will help level him quicker. We will get to that in time. We will get our bedroom built up. Feels weird focusing even a little on that right now, considering we have this rift we have to deal with. Heather, go ahead and summon our next student, who is going to be a dark wizard, and the effects of these different wizards will become clear shortly. Let me clear away this resource thing so we don't have to just kind of stare at that. We can have 3 each of the different types at a total of 21 wizards. I'm not sure how that math... Oh yeah, there's 7 different magic types, so that is where our caps are right now. We'll clear away some of these keywords. I know we don't have staff, or we don't have classes for these students yet. We'll get there in time. We will have our new students soon. We're working on getting our bedroom going. There's just a lot to do early on in this mode, so one moment while we get our student, who is here now. It's Brett, another Vivified. These are living undead who have been granted intelligence. They tend to be very tanky, and he's got dancing machine as well, needs to dance in a room full of people, dancing with friends, so getting an enchantophone up is going to be a high priority for our students. But now that we have a full complement of students, we have 2 wizards, or 2 teachers, 2 students. We're going to go ahead and start our first battle here against these chest smashers. So Heather is going to be extremely important here, as this front row is weak to that, to earth. Annabelle is going to help take out some of the plant-based ones. We'll actually swap them around to make that easier. Combat in this game is basically a turn-based RPG. So, we don't have any potions to help with this, we just kinda have to go in. We'll let everybody fill up mana, come in at full strength, and hopefully when we clear this rift, it will end this chest smasher. and everybody will be able to go about their business for the day. So we'll get some swirling vines going to pull these ones in and do double damage to that nature one in the back. You can kind of hover over each one and see, like, as you cast a spell, okay, it's going to take double damage from earth when I attack with it. Unfortunately, the students are brand new students, so they're not able to cast very quickly. We are going to have all of these enemies go first, and we're not going to be able to instantly kill any of them. Unfortunate, but with all the power from the students especially, we should be able to take care of this problem. It's a turn-based RPG combat style, different elements and different effects can buff, can do different types of damage. The Underschool is going to be a series of these kinds of battles, but I'm not shocked that we did have to deal with one of these right away. I'm gonna go ahead and just have this kid take care of this guy, and I think it will get behind him too. Yeah, so double damage behind, take care of him on front. We'll do a tentacle sweep, which costs magic, or it costs health to cast, which Vivify Dark Mages end up being very good for that reason. Since we don't have Shadow Cloaks, it's just gonna take full cost. We'll deal with that guy. Perfect start. We'll throw the Swirling Vines down and kill this one. And we're just gonna go ahead and smash out this last enemy. Now we took some damage, people are going to be hurt. It's unfortunate, it's going to push Heather a little closer to a break. And Heather's already close. We're going to have to cross our fingers and hope for the best here. But, so it goes. We'll do a little cut, see how things go. Talk to you shortly. Okay, so as things turn into night, we're managing to get what we can harvested. Pull everyone in. Quinn is doing a lot of repair here. We're getting some iron from down below. It's not a great start to everything, but we're starting. And also, once we get some phoenix flowers and ice petals, which we should be able to do once we push this fog back further, which that's going to be top priority for our teachers right now, is going to help with getting a medical bed, getting people rested up. Teachers will go to bed, actually sleep in a real room tonight instead of on the floor, heal up some. Medical bed is just for healing during the day. Once morning comes, we'll clear the font. Right now, it's nighttime, night cycle. Quinn's just going to do some basic work during that time. I'll be back with you if anything interesting happens. Alright, morning of the next day. Students are starting to wake up. People have started to heal a little. Heather's still got a lot of work to do there, but at least doesn't look in immediate risk of a conviction break and is coming back to a healthy state. If there is a break, it'll be a minor one. We had a gremlin appear. Gremlins show up in areas that are dirty, so cleanliness is important in this game. We'll just hunt him down with, probably just send Quinn to deal with that right now. And everybody's eating, everybody's doing fine. We need to push the fog back a little further. It's in kind of a dangerous point right now, so we'll get it out using some gut berries and wood. Our next goals are going to be stabilizing everybody's moods. So we're going to need food and we're going to need entertainment. So that is what this secondary floor and this kind of staircase into nothingham before. So let's get the floor built out. And we will rebuild a roof into that. I'm gonna have to convert this section of it. But as you can see, with people kind of coming in with getting some more resources built up, we're doing a lot better. Starting to get things repaired from that torch snuffer, and the next one will obviously be more prepared for. Go ahead and just build a roof there. We'll build some walls, get some more room going, and get ready to start making some classes. Get a roof going, get a an appropriate level of wonk, and we have to deal with darkness soon before these void shrooms form. So let's get some lighting going. How much? 13%. That means we need 4 lights to keep this room down here lit. Is anybody idle? Nope. Students are idle. Students are going to be idle for a little bit. Get some chopping going on. We need wood badly. Have our bedroom reestablished. And we should be able to make our brew pot here very soon once we get some stone. And that will let us start making some actual meals instead of having to eat raw food. So we'll make a little room in here first. And put some flooring down. Get some stairs back here so we can access this upper level eventually. And start building some lights again. These lights are very important. I'll split this into a couple different. I imagine I'm gonna need at least 5 lights here. This room down here, it's gonna need a door, isn't it? Is going to probably be my little scullery, at least temporarily. We're going to need to rebuild this crafting workshop, at least temporarily. And this main room is actually going to be where we move our crafting stations. Now, you might think that would be a horrific, awful process. I mean, it's not the best, but we can just pick up... Actually, I will say, it's not nearly as bad as you'd think. So we can just pick up and move anything we want to pick up and move. So we can take our arcane secretary and our wand station, move them both up into here. And at some point, after they sleep, somebody, probably Quinn actually, will just grab the wand shaper, grab the arcane secretary, and you can move. You can just move things around here now. There we go. The wand shaper's up, arcane secretary's up. This is now our workshop in the upper floors. We'll build our gruel pot in here. And when everyone wakes up, we'll push back the fog. This room down here, I'm going to probably turn into our little entertainment room shortly. For now, I'm going to go ahead and add that in as our next research after we get slightly better food production going. And you can just assume I'm always researching in the background, always kind of getting ready for the next thing. Get a few torches into this room. The fog has laughed mockingly at me, that's what that was. And now we repel the fog one more time. Just gonna make sure that it doesn't grab us while we're getting ready for the day. Start getting some phoenix kisses and some ice flowers is going to be a major push forward for the next things, because we want to be able to get the fog out further in the future. And for this main room down here, we need some viscera for the next step. So we'll kill some rats. Here's some ice flowers that we've got. But we also need the ice petals for the medical bed, which is probably more important right now than getting the fog pushback. So we'll get our first medical bed. We might actually just turn this into a medical room in the short term and worry about recreation a little later. So is this, it's still a schoolroom. What do we need to make a scullery? Rooms. It's gonna be a workshop. Needs to be grounded. So I might move some things around shortly, but at the very least we can start getting gutberry soup, which is half as bad in terms of what people will eat as just raw gutberries. So we'll get 4 of those spilled. Actually, I did that wrong. Just clean some of these. We'll always make sure that there are 4 gutberry soups, 2 carcass stews. We have Heather, our fire mage, working on that now. We're making actual food and gruel, and life is beginning to start in this school. So with that, there's only one thing left to really make this a school. Alright, we have our students starting to rest in a medical bed, and we are able to make our first learning stone, a key critical feature of this game. Oh, we have a void shroom somewhere, probably in the bedroom, yep. So I'll get some torches into the bedroom. We need 4 of these. That's a nice little pattern. Yes, Heather is healing. Excellent. We're doing some research, getting some building done. Alright, Heather's just getting a little bit of mana, but we are nearly done with our final stage for this episode. We have our basic classroom. So now, with the ability to get students to keep research going, with food brought in, with the fog creeping up on us once more, we can now make decent food. We can now make sure everybody has a place to sleep. We are established. We have our foothold. It's been rough getting here. There were some close calls with conviction, especially, but with that, I'm going to call this a first episode. And now, from here, we just start expanding and making this school the best place it can be. Thank you everyone for coming. Hope you have a good rest of your day.